I've got it, now you can too. It's the effing audacity. Now in a can.
Hello, my name is Renee Maxine Haas, and this is the effing audacity. In this episode, it's just me. I wanted to talk about the courage to return home. This is something that I've been thinking about a lot. It's currently August 2025, and my travels end at the end of September. I have 2 more months left of this beautiful journey, 2 years of solo traveling around the world. I remember the feeling after my first year being totally and completely relieved that I still had another year to go. I wasn't ready to end the journey. I was so excited to see more of the world still. My thirst for exploring and expanding had not been quenched. It's now been almost a whole nother full year, and I'm ready. I finally feel ready to plant roots again in whatever form that looks like. Part of me is not ready to jump back into an entirely rooted life, uh, get a lease or buy a house or have an idea of being somewhere permanently. I'm still very interested in staying in the flow. I'm very interested in doing additional travel in the following year, just a little bit less intense. And I'm really excited about being in one place for some time. I was reflecting upon returning back to the United States, and I realized that actually just that takes some courage in itself. And you wouldn't think that returning home would be that, but actually, in a lot of ways, it is. One of the things is that as you travel the world, you have these eye opening experiences about alternative ways to live. I've seen a lot more about how you can live within community and cultures that are a lot less individualistic than the United States. I've seen cultures that are way more balanced in their work and personal lives to the point where work life balance isn't even a discussion like it is in the United States. It just is. It's a way of life that balance is so deeply ingrained that it's not really a question. I have experienced cultures that have a lot higher quality foods, more access to affordable healthcare, affordable education, public transit, all of these things that perhaps the United States is not excelling at currently. And looking around at the political and social space in the United States, there is a lot of chaos and disruption and change and fear that is such a part of the American story currently. When I had returned back to the United States after being gone for a year and reconnecting with the culture, reconnecting with friends and family, I could feel this baseline of anxiety and fear that existed among the people that I loved. And even from an energetic sense, I could feel it while being back. Everything that's going on with politics, with social issues, and also the deteriorating affordability to just live a regular life, whether it's access to affordable healthcare or housing or groceries, that is eroding people's sense of security and sense of hope. And returning back to all of that, it's not particularly appealing. And in all of this, in my time away, there are aspects where my values have changed. I more deeply value freedom, freedom of my time in particular. I much more value leisure in a way that I hadn't before, and also control over my schedule, control over my life. I don't think that I could really ever go back to a traditional corporate life. I think being out of it and finding what feels better to me, a more in control, fluid, intuitive lifestyle feels really good to me. And returning to the stability and safety, but the structure of corporate life, I don't I don't think I can go back to that. There are other parts about returning, like reverse culture shock. One of the things that I recall when I returned was restaurant culture. Of course, the United States is known for its very high tipping requirement, and then also just around like receiving the bill. I remember being out to eat with a couple of my friends, and the waiter comes by and drops down the bill, and we weren't even halfway through eating our meal. My friends instinctively go to reach to put their cards down, and I say, wait, 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 like, we'll get to it. Let's enjoy our meal. And and then the waitress came back a few minutes later, expecting for cards to have been put down for the bill to be ready to be paid. And she was surprised. And I realized that I had been out of that culture, specifically this American restaurant culture, for long enough that something that it's what used to be so ordinary to me became a little bit of a shock to me. And I think more of that is going to show up. I haven't found out yet. It'll take a little bit more time of really being back in the flow of American life to see what else I have in store, what else is going to be a new reverse culture shock to me. The other thing that I've been thinking about is while I've been gone for 2 years, it doesn't mean that friends and family in my life have stopped living theirs. They've had full lives too. So there's going to be a lot of relearning and catching up to where they are in their lives. They're not right where I left them. They've continued to grow and expand and have experiences too. And of course, I've been in contact with my friends and family along the way, but it's very different in the brief text and more sporadic phone calls. That feels very different and is very different than the face-to-face interactions that you get had you been close by. And there is opportunity there. They're not in the same place that you are anymore. And that's something to recognize and realize. And also important to remember that I can't come back guns blazing, ready to just gab and gab about my travel experience. That would be probably quite annoying. Of course, they would be excited to hear from me and about it, but it's not really all about me either. You know, it's my turn to catch up with them and catch up with what's been going on with them. And as I transition away, I'm saying goodbye to the everyday adventure and exploration. I have to learn how to incorporate elements of that back into my new daily life and routine. I don't think that you can just go straight from every single day is a new thing with new people and new places and new foods and new art and new smells and all of that newness and excitement to okay, now I'm going to work and I'm driving the car and I'm getting groceries and I'm going to work out, and then the next day repeats. There has to be an element of bringing that adventurous spirit back into a more stable lifestyle. I have to work out how that's going to look like for me. I don't know for sure yet, but I do know that there are things that I am really excited about. I'm really excited to be in one place, be grounded, be rooted down in a single place, and not living out of a backpack and not changing places every week. I'm looking forward to reconnecting with my friends and also simple things like exercising regularly and being in nature more frequently, something that is really important to my soul and my needs. I'm excited to revisit my spiritual curiosities and, without language barrier, get to explore different experiences that I can with that while back in my old city. And I think the most important thing of all that I'm looking forward to is the time to reflect upon this journey. I've already started to understand a little bit the ways that I have changed and the things that I've learned. But I also know that it's changed me in ways that I've yet to discover. It's changed me in ways that I know it will take the contrast of being back and also time, just time to really think about what all of this meant, what it means for me and my human development, my growth as a person. I'm excited for that part. And yeah, I would say also a little bit anxious to try and figure out how to bring back all of this into a regular life. Or maybe my life will never be regular again. I don't know. One of the things that I have to figure out is, how do I answer that to people? Because we're a couple months away now, and I am starting to get questions from family. What are you going to do? Are you going to go back to work? Where are you going to live? What's your plan? Another thing that has changed me in a big way is that I've learned to develop my intuition and be way more comfortable with going with the flow. And I was able to drop this need for having a 5-year plan of my life figured out. I learned that it doesn't matter anyway. You can have ideas, you can have goals, but that doesn't mean that that's the way that life is going to work out. I learned that in a very big way. I also learned that that's okay, that things can work out in a amazing way that you didn't expect. Yeah, I'm still learning that in a lot of ways, how to trust the universe, trust timing, to be more in a flow state and allowing, receiving. And that doesn't really fit into the capitalistic, masculine, goal oriented society of the United States today. So I'll be this little free spirited bird trying to fit back into its little capitalist cage called America. Of course, this wording of this is dramatic, but it's also felt and honest. I think it does take courage to go back to your roots after having an experience like this and embracing the challenge of integrating all that it is that you've learned and become into something that was and now is again. I've already witnessed how my story has inspired big decisions in others' lives And by sharing this podcast, you're helping these messages reach those who are on the cusp of their next soul-driven journey. It's exciting to know that if you share this podcast, it will, without a doubt in my mind, lead to great joy in someone's life. Be a part of creating a ripple effect that inspires the world to have courage and live authentically.